Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it is Tuesday, August 8th, right at 10:30 in the morning. Temperature is 81 degrees and the humidity is 74%. And I am actually on leave this week, which is why I'm out here on a Tuesday. So hey, the last time I was in the bees was about 10 days ago on July 29th. And not too much to really report from then, if you haven't checked out that video. So for this week, or actually this month, due to some travel I have coming up as early as this weekend. So for the month of August, I'm just going to get into the hives, conduct a routine inspection, and try to use the rest of this week, because my travel doesn't start until Saturday, to help any hives that need some help. So just a quick rundown from the last inspection from what I can remember in sequential order, if you want to call it that, just in order based off of the hive's location. Number one, the most recent, or one of the most recent swarms I caught, they have some pretty nice activity on the front porch. The bees are definitely out flying right now, but I'm just gonna take a look in them, see if anything's changed over the last 2 weeks, which I expect a little more brood at this point. Number two, they're doing great. I was actually out here yesterday afternoon for a little bit. They had a ton of orientation flights, so I expect to see a few frames of nice brood. Number three is doing good. Number four, let's see, I reduced them in the sense of a medium box, but they have some nice activity as well. I think it was number six, which was, they were queenless for a little bit, and then the last inspection I found a queen, got her marked. Or maybe that was number three. It's really hard to keep them straight. The one that I have a little concern about is this single 5-frame. They don't have, and they haven't had too much activity. They do have some bees, as one's coming out right now, but like I was saying, not really much activity in comparison to the rest of the colonies. The last 5-frame is this one here. They have some nice activity, but from what I remember, based off the last inspection, they didn't have too much activity in the top box, so I'll take a look at them. This hive's been strong the entire season, and then I said it a lot in the last video, but the very last hive was a combination of the last 3 colonies. So I'll take a look at their top box, and a few local beekeepers, local-ish, one down in Charlotte and then one local here in Onslow County, they plan on adding supers in or around September 1st to try to capitalize on any sort of goldenrod nectar flow we have. So with that said, if number 13 doesn't need the top box, I will remove them, or remove it this week, give them a super. I'm sure I have a medium super that has some nice drawn out comb. Mainly due to the travel I have coming up and some additional travel, I am going to be away for the majority, if not all of the goldenrod nectar flow. So I'm actually not going to add any queen excluders. I'm just going to add medium boxes as supers and or extensions to the brood chamber. So the colonies and the queen can use the top box, which is primarily a medium box, to expand the brood chamber. And hopefully there's a strong enough fall flow to where the colonies can store what will ultimately become their winter food stores. So I just wanted to share what's been going on and what I plan on doing today based off of upcoming travels. So let's get the smoker lit and relatively quickly start going through the colonies. And like I said, use the rest of this week before Saturday to make any necessary changes to get the colonies ready and healthy for the fall. All right, let's get started. All right, it doesn't really look like they have a whole lot of activity in this top box, so I think that was the case from the last inspection, which kind of tells me it's probably a good time to reduce them into a single 5 frame. So let's get some of these frames out of here and kind of reassess for this week. Yeah, it doesn't really look like they've made much progress. Then again, we are in a bit of a dearth, so it's kind of expected not to see too much wax being drawn out. They do have some on that frame, some on this frame in a very funky way. But yeah, let me get into the bottom box where most of the colony's at, and really just want to see some brood. So that's a nice frame that the queen could use to lay in, but she hasn't. So I'm just going to set this frame aside, and if the bottom 5 frames need a more decent frame for the queen to use as a brood frame, I have that one, and this one's not half bad. All right, let's see how the bottom box is looking. All right, here we go. Here's all the bees. Let's see how they're doing. Hopefully they have a few frames of nice brood. All right, just removed the first frame, and just like I thought, not really much going on. We have some brood on this side, some capped brood. And again, the colonies are in a dearth right now, so the queens might scale back on their the quantity of eggs they lay this time of year. Decent population of bees, that's for sure. All right, they might start ramping up in the fall just a little bit as the goldenrod nectar flow starts, but not bad. There's the queen right there. It's really hard to see with this kind of spotted light coming through the canopy, but yeah, she's right there. Kind of has an older dot on her, but yeah, let's get everybody. Actually, it's gonna put them back, but I'm gonna cage her just so I can move some frames around and try to set them up for success here. Let's just better frames of comb. So I'll do that off camera here in a second. All right, like I was saying, this frame here is just a lot nicer comb for the bees to use. So I'm going to take this from the top box, put it down here in the bottom box in the number 2 position. And even though they don't have a lot going on this side does have some comb they're using, so I'll put that back into the number 1 position. And then yeah, I'm just going to reduce number 1 from a double stack just to a single 5 frame, because it's been quite a few weeks and they're just not using the top box at all, so less space is better this time of year. All right, that's all for number 1 here, which I think is swarm. I think this is the 12th swarm that I caught. So there's the queen right there. Just making sure she crawls down back in. All right, all set. All right, we are moving right along. This is the hive in the 2nd position. And I do remember that I added the top box during the last inspection, so it's been on here about 10 days. And I am not surprised to see bees in the top box, and I'd be very pleased if they capitalize on the space and the drawn comb come September, when we should have, hopefully we have a decent nectar flow. So the main change for this time of year is that I have to remember, even though they have a top box, they don't have a queen excluder, so it's in my best interest to go through the top box just to see if the queen has started to expand the brood chamber up here. So I'm checking for eggs, all the usual stuff I would do in the bottom box, and keeping an eye out for the queen. Because the last thing you want to do is move the top box aside, assuming she's not in there, and then come to find out she was in there, and hopefully she doesn't fall to the ground, step on her, or anything like that. So I'm just going to go through this top box. They do have some wet frames here, or some wet cells on this frame, so it looks like they are finding some kind of food source to bring in. But yeah, I'm just going to go through this top box. I'll share anything we're sharing, get into the bottom box for the rest of the inspection, and that'll be that for this one. All right, just finished with the top box. There's some pretty decent food stores. No sign of the queen. So I might do what I did last time, which was I go from right to left. So I call the right side frame number 1 all the way through frame number 10. So I might basically do my usual routine, and as soon as I find eggs or signs they are queen right, call it quits. They have some really fat frames and some nice food stores. I think this is a colony that I haven't really gone through in quite a while, mainly because they've been so healthy. So we'll see. I also, yep, that pulled apart. I also expect these frames to be like just really glued together, because when I took the top cover off last week to add the top box, I mean, I have never seen a colony with so much propolis before. Yeah, this frame's falling apart. So I think the reason the first frame wasn't really pulling apart that easily is because, check this out. Look at the damage I just caused. Man, that is unfortunate. And there is just honey dripping all over the place, which I'll show you, of course. But yeah, no kidding. All down in the box. Great. I was not expecting that. Awesome food store though. So now that I have some space, I'm gonna try to get through the rest of the box here kind of quickly. All right, well that didn't take too long. So I'm on frame number 2, which is actually the first frame I pulled, and I can see larva that hasn't been capped. And then if I look close enough and trace it, I mean, there are signs of eggs, so they are still queen right and doing just fine. Ton of honey stores, food stores, as you all saw. Let's pull one more frame, which will be the frame in the 3rd position, more out of curiosity. And I might go through this colony a little more than I have been, just because, well, one, I haven't in a while, and I'm more curious than anything to see how much brood they have this time of year. So they have some capped brood, as you can see right there, but not a lot. But in the next, I would imagine in the next month, they'll have a ton more based off the amount of eggs and larvae that just hasn't been capped yet. That's pretty much that. Nice food stores, queen right, brood is starting to build up, so they are trending in the right direction. On to the next one. All right, down here at the hive in the 3rd position, basically just going in order here. I think I added this box last time as well, so same like the previous hive. I think they've had this box for the better part of 2 weeks. And oh yeah, that's right, this is one of the boxes that really doesn't have much going on at all. So the bees have their work cut out for them as far as building out wax and everything. And I might have another box, I might have another medium that's better for them. And if that's the case, Yeah, as I'm finishing up, I might try to give them a better box so they can capitalize on any sort of fall flow. Yeah, there's really not much going on in this box, so let me get this off, get down into the bottom. All right, just share a first look. Healthy amount of bees, just really sticking to the bottom box here. I'm gonna try to be somewhat cautious with this frame if I end up getting that far, but I might stick to the same thing, just frame by frame until I can tell they're queen right, and once I find signs of the queen, just call it a day and move on. All right, over here on frame number 4, nice capped brood, and then as I look around, due to the comb being old and dark, we have eggs, so they're queen right. And then this side, same thing, nice patch of capped brood, some larvae that hasn't been capped yet, and then if you just look around, nice patch of eggs right there. So they're queen right. I am satisfied with this colony. Get them put back together, and then like I said, as I finish up the rest of the yard later today, I'll see if I can see if I have a better medium box for them, because this top box has been on long enough, and if they were going to make some use of it, they probably would have done a little more work than they have so far. So with that said, I'm going to try and find them a better medium box for the fall. All right, you guessed it, down here at the next hive. So this was a pretty large colony this year, and then they swarmed, I think late June. Ended up reducing them to what you see now, maybe 2 weeks ago or so. So it is nice to see this amount of bees up in the top box here. So I'm just checking a few things. I have to remind myself to check the bottom side of the inner cover since they don't have a queen excluder. I'm just checking to see the progress in the top box and whether or not the queen's moved up here. And I think I left them a pretty nice amount of food in the top box, which I decided to do this year a little different because I have not fed my bees at all during this dearth, which is for the most part the month of July and August. And then again, hopefully we have a nice fall flow that starts in September. And if that's the case, I think they'll be okay because they have adequate space and they still have a decent amount of food stores to get through the remaining 3 weeks of August. So if that's the case, if the stars align and everything works out pretty nicely, and I keep treating with Insta-Vap and oxalic acid, I might actually have, crossing my fingers and put in the cart way ahead of the horse, but I might actually have a decent amount of bees survive the winter, finally. All right, so the queen has moved up into the top box, if you can see that or not, and I'll change the angle of the frame because of the cells they're kind of angled up. But yeah, there's a nice patch of capped brood, or I'm sorry, a nice patch of larvae right there. All right, so even though I found some larvae and some eggs in the top box, I'm gonna get into the bottom box anyway, just in case that's a fluke. And the reason I say that is because the frame that I found them on was one of the golden frames from which is the majority of the top box in the previous hive. And I know I combined a whole bunch of mediums last time, so that may have been a medium frame that got brought over from the other colony. So just to double check to make sure they're queen right, I'll get into the bottom box here, and same thing, as soon as I find eggs, call it quits. And as I say all that, the very next frame, dark comb, but nice patch of capped brood. Surrounding the capped brood, some larvae, and then up here we have some eggs. So they're queen right. Let's get them put back together and move on to the next one. Okay. Alright, down here at Hive in the 5th position, don't remember too much about them, which is fine, because I think it was number 6 that was queenless in July, late June, July. And then I found a queen during the last inspection, but decent amount of bees in the top box here, which is a good thing, especially for this time of year. Again, as long as they capitalize on the fall nectar flow, they should be sitting pretty for the winter. So, same scheme and maneuver. Just go through the top box, check on any sort of food stores they have, see if the queen has moved up into the top box at all, and then eventually get to the bottom box if I don't see enough signs that they are queen right in the top box. This is what I remember about this colony, is they are really sticking to just a few frames in the center. These frames not really making much work, potential in a few frames, but they're really sticking to the center 3. Alright, things you don't necessarily want to see if a colony is healthy. Where'd it go? It's crawling around here somewhere. Got a wax moth. Yeah. Golly. Where'd it go? Anyway, got a wax moth crawling around. And that kind of jogs my memory too, is I wonder if this colony was queenless last time. There it goes. And I just forgot to get around to it. So, like I said in an introduction, I have a few colonies in 5 frames that I might end up making some pretty big combinations today or tomorrow. And this one would appear to be probably one of them. Yeah, I don't think they're queen right. So let me check those other colonies first, of course. Yeah, I don't see any eggs or anything. One more frame and it's pretty much the last frames with any significant amount of bees. Yeah, I'm gonna call them queenless, which is fine, especially when you have colonies available to make some combinations with. So that's what I'll end up doing. I'm gonna mark them with a brick to indicate they're queenless, and then make some combinations today. Alright, now if my memory serves me right, number 6 here, this is the one that should have a newly marked queen from the last inspection. More bees in the top box, but just to save y'all some time, I'm just going to go through them and most likely get in the bottom box. She should definitely have some capped brood at this point, or at least larvae. That's around the 10th day, maybe still uncapped. But yeah, hopefully they're still queen right, and if so, I'll just continue down the line until I'm done. Alright, decent amount of bees. Same thing. As soon as I find signs they're queen right, I will call it quits and move on to the next colony. If this is the right colony that I'm thinking about, she has definitely been busy since the last inspection, because that is a very nice frame of brood, capped brood. Let's take a look at the next one together. Yeah, same thing. Nice looking capped brood. I'm gonna check this portion right here for eggs. Just because capped brood means they have a queen or had a queen. Yeah, they have eggs right there, but they may not have had a queen in 2 weeks, so that's something to kind of keep in mind and be careful about when you find a frame of capped brood. Again, that means they had a queen, but that could also mean they are not currently queen right. And like usual, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to keep looking, and there she is right there on the top bar. Nice looking queen. Smaller queen for this time of year, but still nice looking. And doing a fantastic job. So that's it for this one. All right, down here at number 7. I am definitely looking forward to coming home later this year after I do some traveling for work to see a few things, right? To see how many bees or how many colonies have survived into the late fall, and to come out and I think I'll lift some of the backs of the hives, really, if the weather's colder than 65 degrees, which I kind of anticipate it being by then, and seeing hopefully seeing the hives have stored a lot of food and put on some weight. Speaking of, we got some wet cells, so they're finding something. All right, same thing, go through the top box, share anything worth sharing, and as soon as I determine their queen rate, on to the next one. And as soon as I turn the camera off, I look down into the cells on the 3rd frame in the medium box, and this side and this side, significant eggs. So this queen, I mean, she is doing a fantastic job moving up into the top box. So again, since that's the 3rd frame and there are the amount of bees up here that they currently have, I just want to go through the next few frames together with you. And oh yeah, she's definitely moved up here. Check that out. So we have some larvae right there. I was gonna say to see if she's been in this top box long enough to, here she is, to lay some, not lay some eggs, but lay eggs long enough to where they turn into captive brood. But yeah, okay, so 100% queen rate, and she is already enjoying the space that the top box provides. So that's that. On to the next one. All right, down here at number 8, nothing comes to mind, which is probably a good thing, and judging by the bees in the top box, it's probably a very good thing. All right, pretty much said it every single time, but same thing. Just go through the top box, see what they have going on. Hopefully it's like the previous hive, and not only did I find eggs, but on the very next frame I found the queen. Doesn't seem to be the case just yet, but that was the very first frame, outer frame, which typically doesn't really have much going on. All right, second frame, a few wet cells. So they're finding some kind of food to get into. No eggs. Let's just do one more frame together, and then I'll venture through the rest of the box myself and get into, hey, there we go. Get into the bottom box if I need to, which I might not need to. Grab my flashlight. Oh, hey, there's a surprise. I'm telling y'all, beekeeping is not this easy. You do not just find the queen that fast. It's kind of rare. Let's get her caged. All right. Man, easy day today. All right, well, hey, easy day down at number 8. Let's get her released. She's down in there, and that's that. All right, down here at the hive in the 9th position, which is the second 5-frame nuke that I have, and as I was saying in the intro, my concerns for this colony is really based off the lack of entrance activity. And this was most likely a swarm from probably about the mid-season or so. I haven't had too many like late season swarms, but they only have really two frames to speak of, and I just need to kind of make an assessment, of course, to figure out what they're doing. They seem very lethargic, just moving very slow, unusually slow. They do have a little capped brood, and I'm really trying to see if I find the queen. If not, I'll shift to looking closer for eggs. And they might be a good, they might be a good candidate to combine. I'm actually going to take this box off because there's a group of bees kind of hanging out on the bottom board, which is also unusual. So let me see what's going on there. And then between this colony and one of the, oh, there's the queen. Okay, so that's kind of strange to find her on the bottom. It's very unusual. So I'm going to try and cage her. Alright, so I have her caged. To find her on the bottom is really odd. I'm going to look closer at the two frames to see if they have any eggs, and then kind of make a decision from there. I'm probably going to leave her caged as well, since I have a colony that is queenless, that has a decent amount of bees, and then you have this colony that just really isn't doing well, period, but they still have bees, so I don't want to lose them. So yeah, kind of really TBD right now, so gotta make a decision. I don't have to make a decision right now, but today I'll figure something out. And even though they have a queen, it looks, it kind of looks like she stopped laying eggs, so that's unusual for me, so I'm not sure what to make of that. All right, well, I'm gonna leave her caged, like I said. I'm just gonna do this number. Done it before. It's been a while since I've probably showed anybody. So you just kind of sandwich two. All right, not sure when the camera cut off, but yeah, this is number 9. Number 5 is down there with the brick. They're queenless. They're queen right. They don't really have much eggs or anything going on, so she might be failing for sure. They need a queen. I still have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 more frames, or I'm sorry, 4 more hives to go. So I have a few other possibilities. I'm really leaning towards this double stacked 5-frame nuke to possibly combine this one, which is number 11, number 9, and number 5. And then at that point, the hardest thing to do is figure out where exactly to put the hive. So probably somewhere here, but all TBD right now. Queen right, not doing well. Decent amount of bees, queenless. So these two are in my equation to combine later today. I just need to get through the rest of the colonies and figure out which one I'm going to use to make some combinations. All right, here it is a few hours later. It's 2:15. Temperature right now is 92 degrees. Humidity is 60%, and the heat index is 106. And I finished up with hive number 9, as y'all saw, which is the single 5-frame. So I still have to go through 10, 11, 12, and 13. And the hive down here with the vertical brick is queenless. So I'm gonna see how the remaining 4 hives are looking. And even before I look, based off the front porch activity and what I remember from last time, 10 days ago, is, let's see, 10, 11, the double stacked 5-frame in the 12th position or 11th position. They are looking good. They weren't really using the top box at all, which is fine, but if they are queen right and she has a nice brood pattern. I will most likely use that hive to combine, let's see, what are we doing here? 13, 12, 12, 11. 11, I'll probably use 11 to combine 9's bees and whichever one that was. I think number 5, the bees in there. So anyway, a few things to do. And of course, this is the side of the yard that is in the direct sun. So you'll probably see me here on video as I go through the colonies, just slowly melting away. So let's get to it, get in and out of here in about an hour and call it a day. Let's pop the top on number 10. Same thing as the rest of the colonies. Same process. So I'll spare you all that on camera, but real quick, since I'm in the top box already, it does not look like they're really doing much in the top box. We have some bees, but if my memory serves me right, I think I harvested half of this box about a week or two ago. Yeah, that's right. And I left this frame because half of the frame was capped, half wasn't. So anyway, I'll just go through the top box as quick as possible and show you anything worthwhile. Over here on frame number 4, so they have some brood. I can see some larvae around the capped brood. So same thing, I'm just gonna look around the capped brood and the cells that aren't capped yet, but I can see they have larvae. And I am just checking. Yep. All right, we got some eggs on that side. And all right, yeah, we got some eggs on this side. So queen right for sure. Moving on. I say moving on, but I'm always tempted to pull the next frame more out of curiosity and check that out. That is just a really nice brood frame. And you know what? Since I can see down in the box, in the hive, and y'all can't really, let me just show you this next one too. This is nice frames. She is doing a very nice job. I am not concerned with finding her at all. So let me put them back together and move on to the next colony. All right, getting into the last 5 frame equipment. This is the hive in the 11th position, and we have some bees in the top box, not much, which, if I remember right, that was pretty much the same situation as the last inspection. Again, that was about 10 days ago. So I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to reduce this colony to just a single 5 frame, or most likely I will use this colony to get number 5 and whatever the other one is, 5 and 9. Basically use this colony to combine with 5 and 9 to make one strong colony, because those two have a decent amount of bees, which I'm sure this one does too. And if this is the hive that is queen right, out of the 3, I'll leave this hive in place, and those other bees will probably find a new home. All right, let's get into the bottom box, and hopefully they're queen right. All right, just took the top box off. They seem to have a nice population of bees, but can't assume anything, so let's try and find this queen and make something of today's discovery. All right, I already see cap brood. I see some larvae. Not too concerned with looking for eggs just yet. But yeah, hopefully I can find her, cage her, and then follow through with my game plan to combine some colonies today. I'm telling y'all, these queens know when you're in the colony, because look at this. She has no business being on this frame other than to avoid me. All right, so now that I have, I think this is number 11, right? Now that I have their queen, let me do a few things off camera. Basically, get them kind of put back together for the most part, or just at least out of the way. I'll bring one of the 10 frame bottom boards over and start making some combinations here. All right, I just grabbed number 5's bottom board in deep. About to combine, I think I said 11's 5 frame into that. Let's go take a look at what was number 5. So they have a decent amount of bees on the frames and everything, and in the medium box. So 11 will get a pretty good population boost, and that's pretty much it. I guess I'll let, I don't know, kind of undecided with number 9 right now. I mean, they have a queen, but she's really not doing the best job, so kind of give that some thought. But let me get this combined, 5 and 11 combined first, and then figure out what I want to do with number 9 here in a second. All right, we are as good as it's gonna get for now. So whatever number we call this is maybe original 11, has 10 frames of drawn comb, so that's good. There's the rest, or most of the rest of the bees. So that's that. Number 5's top box, which actually has some decent weight and food stores in it. And then let's get number 11's parent queen released, and that's it. All right, so combine those two. Still not 100% sure what I want to do with here she goes. Still not really sure what I want to do with number 9, the colony that's down in the 5 frame, but I got some time to figure that out. Still have two more colonies to go through, so I'll finish today with trying to make a plan for number 9. All right, so like usual, whenever I make a combination or transfer a colony from usually 5 frame equipment into 10 frame, I always set the 5 frame equipment in front of the colony, or the woodenware that I just transferred the bees into. So this is pretty interesting where number 5 was at, not unexpectedly, but there's a lot of field bees out currently, and they were all flocking to this 5 frame equipment, which was right next to number 5's old location. So what I did is I put the 5 frames from number 5 that I didn't use to transfer down to number 11 or whatever that is, and opened up the entrance. And what I plan on doing is coming back later today, if not tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening really, and whatever bees have basically come back and call this home now, I will go down and shake them into number 11, or whatever number that is now, probably 10 really, because we lost one, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, kind of an easy way to make sure you don't lose out on too much of a workforce, foraging force, by just capturing them and shake them down into the new equipment. All right, 2 colonies to go. This was number 12. I'm guessing it's probably number 11 now because we lost one, but for argument's sake, this is the colony in the second to last position. And this colony has been very strong throughout the entire season. Harvested a decent amount of honey from them. So let's get into them. Same thing as the rest of the colonies today. Just checking to make sure they're queen right. And if they are, easy day. If they're not, Well, that's where the fun begins, and pretty much gives me a chance to kind of figure out what direction I want to go in. All right, they actually have quite a few wet frames and one frame with some nice capped honey. I am not feeding the colonies, and I don't think I left that much food for this one, but I may have, so that's good to see. That should help get them through August. And again, as long as we have a nice fall flow, they should be doing pretty well for the winter. All right, there's all the bees. Quick first look, probably do some cleanup that's left over from the queen excluder. And again, as soon as I see signs they are queen right, I will call it a day. All right, I am 2 frames into this colony, and so far they have some very nice food stores, to include this one. Hopefully they are queen right and not honey bound, but again, I'm only on the 3rd frame, so just keep moving along. I was hoping to find signs that they were queen right by now, because it is pretty darn hot in the direct heat, or the direct sun. All right, here we go. Patch of brood, as y'all can see, and this seems like a good frame to check for eggs with the flashlight. Seems like it. Let's look at this side. Yeah, all right. This colony is gonna make me work for it. Let's move on to the next frame. Hopefully things get a little better. That looks better from here. All right, let's see if they have eggs on this side. All right, nothing yet. All right, frame 6. Every single time, every time I turn off the camera, I find what I'm looking for. So they have eggs on that side. I'm just gonna pull one more frame with y'all. If the queen is on the next frame, that'll be something else, but if she's not, no big deal. This frame 6 had eggs. They seem awfully fidgety, not very calm for a colony that is queen right, but that is neither here nor there right now. They have a nice population of bees, they have very nice food stores, and most importantly, I found eggs, which means they have a queen. So that is it for today, and that is it for August. All right, last hive of the day. I cannot be any more excited because it is hot and I am tired. All right, quick look. Decent amount of bees in the top box. Pop the inner cover. Take a look in the top box. See what they have going on. So, if you missed the last video, this hive is the combination of 14, 15, and 16. If my memory serves me right. And I checkerboarded both boxes, meaning this first frame was nice drawn comb, and the frame underneath it in the bottom box should be basically like a new frame. And I tried to do that as evenly as possible given what I had available at the time, but as I say that, the very second frame here is new, no real drawn wax or anything like that. Same thing with the next one. So again, I'm just going to go through the top box, see what they have going on, and if need be, which it kind of looks like it, if need be, I will try to reduce them into one single deep and try to find the best medium I have available with meaning with drawn comb, so they can capitalize on the fall nectar flow. And this just this blows my mind. This entire frame is wet. I'm assuming that's nectar of some sort, but where they are getting it from right now, I'm not sure, because nothing's usually blooming in August. That's nice to see. All right, let me get through these boxes. And okay, they're queen right, that's for sure. So combining those 3 colonies maybe close to a month ago was a good idea. Yeah, if you didn't watch that video, I'd say please watch it, because it's kind of a shotgun wedding, meaning I just combined all 3 and released the queen, and it seems like all 3 colonies, or the other 2 colonies that were combined with the one parent, seems like they accepted her just fine. So I had my reservations about that, but it looks like everything worked out. All right, this is what I was saying. So top box, first frame, mature established frame, bottom box, new frame. But given that they have not made as much progress as I hoped they would over the last few weeks, I am exploring my options to combine both boxes into one if I'm able to. So I'll pick the 10 best frames and see what that looks like. But I did not find the queen in the top box, so I am going to go through the bottom box, even though they have signs that they're queen right. They had quite a few frames of very nice brood, to include eggs and larvae that haven't been capped yet. So again, just gonna go through the bottom box here and hopefully I can find her. And if I can, I'll cage her. See what my options are as far as combining the 20 frames into one 10 frame box, and just kind of go from there, really. There she is right there on the 19th frame. Kid you not. All right, let's get her caged so I can start with my, there we go, start with my plan to combine all these frames into one box. All right, here's the plan I came up with, which is not what I set out to do. So I removed, as you can see, I removed any frames that are new and just don't have any comb. That leaves me with 8, right? I ended up removing 4 out of the top box, so it leaves me with 6. So I'm gonna put these 2 frames of nice drawn comb into whatever we're calling this one, I guess number 12, or the colony in the last position. I'm gonna put these 2 frames of nice drawn wax into the bottom box, and I'm gonna find them a medium box to act as a super, since they have a great population of bees, and to possibly capitalize on the fall flow. And that leaves me with 3 frames left over that was in the top box here. Some frames of some really nice brood. I think we have a food frame, some more brood, eggs, larvae, nurse bees, and I think this frame has some food on it. And I'm gonna use these 3 frames to try to get whatever this one is, number 9, healthy. So I'll show you all that here in a second. Let me finish up by getting these 2 frames moved into here, find them a medium box so I can be done with them, and then get the single 5 frame nuke healthy, or at least try to, and that should wrap it up for today. Just to show you all what I'm giving them. So they are not starting from scratch by any means. Frame and frame and frame, some pretty nice drawn wax. So hopefully they can make something of that. Hopefully it's a nice strong fall flow. But let's get the queen released, who's right here. And actually I need to get the inner cover that I'm using as a bottom board over here. Let me get that situated first. Let's get her released now. Alright, here she goes. Alright, let's get them put back together and finish the day with our rescue mission for what was number 9. Alright, out with the old, in with the new. So they have a nice population of bees in here. So I'm just going to slide the old frames to the outside, and then as y'all can see, I mean, I don't know what else to do. That is a very nice, that is a textbook frame of capped brood surrounded by a rainbow of larvae, and then food at the top. Same on this side. So if they don't accept their queen back, or for whatever reason determine she's failing, or whatever the case is, they have plenty of resources now to potentially make a new one. So we shall see. And a nice food frame here. So they have 5 drawn frames now. There is not much more I can do for them to try to get them healthy. So I will check on them in early September. But first, let's get their parent queen released, who maybe she just started dialing back because of the dearth. It's really hard to say. So yeah, let's get her released. All right, there she goes. Get them put back together. And I think I'm just going to put the bottom box in front of this colony, and maybe the bees from what was 13, maybe they'll find their way down into number 9. All right, folks, that's it for me. So it is just after 3:30. Do a quick recap. I've down in the number 1 position, ended up reducing them down to a single 5 frame. 2's looking good, 3's looking good, 4's looking good, all queen right. Memory's getting a little spotty. Yeah, anyway, busy time in the yard, really trying to get the hives as healthy as possible for the next month due to a long-term absence and just the lack and inability to basically do anything for the rest of the month. So that is it for August. These hives down here just extremely strong. I'm glad I was able to basically get the last hive combined down to a single 10 frame. That should help them in the fall, and then adding a medium box that has drawn comb should also help them out with basically moving some resources around. And then for the 100th time today, hopefully capitalizing on a fall nectar flow. So same thing with all the boxes really. I might be available to try and harvest some goldenrod honey, but in the event that I'm not, that's why I don't have any queen excluders on. So in the event that I'm not around to harvest any, I'm hoping the colonies can use it for winter food stores. Okay, again, that's it for me. It's a hot one, 3:30. Heat index is probably still well over 100. And I will conclude with this. If you're looking for some local honey that is truly delicious and nutritious, get a hold of us. Click on the link tree icon in our banner. It's the only one there now. Really try to simplify things over the last few months. Click on that, and the very first link when you see our link tree is honey for sale. Click on that link, it'll take you over to our Square site, and from there you can make appointments as early as 2 hours in advance, same day, or up to a week in advance if your availability is a little sparse and you need to plan something for later that week. If you need any help, scroll all the way to the bottom. Our contact info is in there, email, business phone number that you can call or text. Point being, just get a hold of us and we will help make arrangements so we can get some of our 2023 honey into your hands. For everybody else that has bought some honey this year, we greatly appreciate it. The money we make from honey sales goes right back in the bee yard to expand, to buy more equipment, replace old equipment, and just to keep on keeping bees. All right, see y'all next time.